Okay. So today I'm going to do a couple things. We will read an article, but before that, I wanted to do, I have a little kind of pronunciation lesson or reminder here. I noticed you have some problems sometimes with pronouncing G because it's confusing. Sometimes it's pronounced as a J or J, and sometimes it's pronounced as a G or G. So we're going to just do a little bit of a review, and maybe this little rule here will help you.
Okay.
Can you start reading here?
Okay. The letter G changes sound in various words. It's pronounced as G in some words it's pronounced as J in some words and as a G in other words. There are rules that govern whether to pronounce letter G as J or G. The first rule is that letter G is pronounced as J when it's followed by letter E, I, or Y. This is why you will find letter G pronounced differently even in the same words such as George, grudge, and language.
Okay, real quick, pause for a second. So definitely this is language,
Language.
okay? So here we have two things going on. This one is pronounced as a J because it is followed by an E. That's the rule.
Okay.
This one is also pronounced as a J because it's followed by an E. And this one too is pronounced as a J because it's followed by an E. But the first one, this one, is pronounced like a G, G. So this is G or J, gorge, gorge. And this is G, grudge, grudge. And this is language, language.
Grudge, grudge, language.
Okay, go ahead.
It is the E that comes next to G that changes the sound. Consider other words such as page, generations, gender, detergent, and many more.
Real
The
quick,
letter G,
just to review, we have the same thing going on here, right? This is
page.
followed by an E, you notice? Right? This one is followed by an E, followed by an E. This one is followed by an E. All of those have an E afterwards, so it's J, 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 J. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. The letter G is pronounced as J throughout in the word ginger, but differently in words region and pentagon.
So we have ginger. In this case, both of them are pronounced as a J because they are followed by an I or an E, and that's the rule. And then we have religion, that's followed by an I, and pentagon. So this one is different. This is a different one. Pentagon, and this is religion. All right, continue.
Some early learners of English find the two words angle and angel confusing in pronunciation. The G in angle is pronounced as G in the name Angola. Angola or Angola?
Angola.
Angola. While the G in the word angel is pronounced as J in the name John.
Right. And you understand because this one, why? It's followed by an E. So that one sounds like a J, angel. And this one is not, so that's just angle. Okay.
Letter Y also does the same thing as I and E when next to letter G. Consider words as astrology, Egyptian, and gym.
Same thing. So the Y acts like an I or an E. It's kind of the same thing. Astrology, Egyptian, and gym.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next rule.
The second rule is that letter G retains sound G when it comes last in a word. Take an example of words like egg, jog, hog, beg, and etc.
Exactly. So we don't need the word and here. Okay. So this is pronounced like a G because it is the last word, the last letter, I mean. Okay, here.
Master the simpler rules such that you pronounce differently the words egg and age, jog and judge, gender and grandeur.
Good job.
At this point, you must have thought of some rebellious words that don't follow the rules. Examine in the following words: get, give, and jiggle.
This
If
is
we
giggle.
giggle. If we follow the rules we have seen the G in these words it's supposed to be pronounced as J, but it is not. The reason they stand out of the rule is they are not English, but of German origin.
Yeah. So there are exceptions, So technically, following the rule, this is followed by an E or an I. So it should be pronounced as a J, but these are exceptions. These are pronounced as G, get, give, and giggle. Right. So we have exceptions. Okay. So is that help clarify a little bit?
Well, it would be like a nice reference to look at
Uh-huh.
because it's kind of confusing of the sounds.
Yeah.
We have the same problem in Spanish with the J's and the G.
Yeah.
So try, trying to move apart from those rules is sometimes difficult.
Sure, it's hard to remember.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, at least we have a little bit of a rule that
yeah,
we can remember. That's nice. So usually after an E, I, or Y is pronounced as a J. And usually when it comes at the last letter of the word, it's pronounced as a G. And then if it's followed by any other letter, not one of these, then it's a
yeah.
G. Yeah, good. All right, great. So today's topic is animals. These are some IELTS speaking questions from part 1 of the speaking test. In part 1, they ask you very basic questions. It's not really complicated or doesn't require a lot of thinking. It's pretty simple questions. So
Okay.
part 1 on the IELTS is the easiest part. So today's topic is animals, and then we're going to read an article about animals as well. So first
Okay.
question, do you like animals?
Yes, yes, I do.
Great. What's your favorite animal and why?
uh, uh, I guess it would be almost like a tie between dogs and wolves.
Dogs and wolves. Okay, tell me about that. Why?
I don't know. I always like the husky and Malamute breeds,
Mhm.
and they resemble a little bit when they look a little bit like wolves. And also, I like the how the behavior of wolves. Like they can be like very behaving in a very individualistic way, but also work together in a pack. Like they kind of have certain rules
Right,
and they look out for each other, even though they can be alone for a long time. They come back to their pack.
right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they can be both individuals or loners as well as part of a group, team players. Yeah, wolves and dogs are very adaptable too,
Yeah,
right? They can adapt to so many different circumstances, environments, foods. They're very, very adaptable.
and I guess that's where the phrase comes, like you're like a lone wolf.
A lone wolf, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, are people in your country fond of animals? Do people care about protecting wild animals?
Well, yes, people are here in Mexico are fond of animals. They like to have pets, a lot of pets, mainly dogs, cats, and birds. But sometimes it has been proved that they don't really care about even their pets because they live in tied up in the roofs or they abandon them on the streets and very far from their homes in order to prevent them to coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of wild animals, they often they don't care about them and they destruct their habitat.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the lack of knowledge about many species, they usually try to kill them. So I would say that here in Mexico, they don't really care about protecting wild animals, even though there are some organizations focused on trying to preserve all these species.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in some areas, maybe there is still not a lot of awareness about the
Yeah,
importance of protecting wild animals. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I agree with you from what I have experienced here. Mexicans do seem to be fond of animals. Like you said, a lot of people have pets, and a lot of people, have had some contact with animals in their life.
yeah.
Yeah. So the preposition here is from, prevent from, and they
Destroy.
destroy their habitat. Good. What kinds of animals do people have as pets in your country?
Mm, like I say, mainly dogs, cats, and birds, but also I have seen some people that have snakes or tarantulas as pets.
Mhm,
Another common one is like different kind of fishes and
mhm,
hamsters and other types of rodents,
Guinea pigs.
guinea pigs, and I guess also which one? And turtles.
Turtles, right. Yeah, right. Okay. Do you think cities are suitable places for keeping a pet?
I guess it depends. If we're talking about domestic animals like cats and dogs, they don't seem to have a problem with it. And even small rodents, but sometimes I have seen a lot of times that people let die their turtles or their fishes because they
Mhm,
don't take the proper measures to keep them alive.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, some people just, yeah, don't know how or don't take care of them.
Or they're just take care of them at the beginning,
Right.
and as time passes, they just simply don't mind anymore or don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, they stop caring a little bit. They lose interest. Right. Okay. Have you ever had a pet before?
No, I haven't.
Would you like a pet? Have you ever
Y-
been interested?
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in having a dog.
Uh-huh.
Probably I will look for one when I move to a bigger house.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you interested in seeing animals in the zoo?
Yeah, sometimes it's like uh, it depends because sometimes, for example, here in Mexico, the animals that they have in the zoo, they are in very bad conditions. But I have heard, like, for example, in zoos like the one in San Diego, they really take care of their animals. Or for example, China with their pandas.
Hmm. Right.
So yeah, I would like to go to China to see the pandas.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Different zoos maybe are of different qualities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you ever had any, so you've never had a pet. Have you ever had any um funny, difficult, good, bad interactions with animals?
Yes. When I was like in elementary and secondary school, I guess in overall around the city there were a lot of stray dogs. And
Mm,
when you were walking on the street, going to school or whatever, they often started to bark at you and trying to bite you.
mm,
So as a child, that was scary.
sure.
But as you grow up, you start to learn that they're equally scared of you that you of them. So if you keep going and mind your business, there's not going to be any problems.
Right. Right.
Uh,
I think that's true of a lot of animals. Like you said, they're just as scared of you as you are of them.
yeah, and one time when I was in Peru, it was after I visited Machu Picchu. I stayed like the rest of the day. Well, yeah, the rest of the day in the Aguascalientes town, a small town, and there was like a trail road coming from the town. So the locals told us that following the road we could find like several spots to see like one butterfly sanctuary and then like a reserve with a medium-sized waterfall. So I was with my girlfriend and we decided to take a walk to go see the waterfall. And out of nowhere, a small dog of the town start walking in front of us. So it was like he was leading the way because if we stop a little to see the all the landscape, all the vegetation around us, he also stopped and start to look back at us like just waiting for us. So he continued to guide us, so to speak, until we arrived to the entrance of the waterfall. And the moment we crossed the door of the reserve, he just turned around and I guess we guess he go back to the town.
He went back to the town. I
He went back to the
see.
town.
He was your self-appointed tour guide.
Yeah,
How cute.
I don't
He
know
he
if,
was waiting for his tip at the end.
yeah, probably. I don't know if he really was really boring and he didn't have anything else to
What
do.
if he was bored?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, oh, he saw us like just clueless walking around.
Yeah, right. Maybe. That's funny. Yeah, dogs are cute like that. Cool. Okay, good. So we're gonna read an article, maybe two articles about animals. By
Okay,
the way, let's see. How do we pronounce the G in this word?
vegetation.
Yeah, exactly. This sounds like a J. Uh-huh. Vegetation, because it is followed by an E. Vegetation. Good. Okay, so let's see. I have a link to these articles here. Okay, so today we're going to do this that we talked about. We did this once before,
Okay,
where you are going to read an article, a short article, silently, and then summarize it in your own words. Okay, so you might take some notes. Also, maybe you can identify some new or interesting vocabulary words that you find in the article. And then we'll talk about it. Okay, so here is the first article. I'll pass you the link. There we go. So the title of the article is Stranded Whale Dies After a Rescue Operation to Remove It from a French River. But given the context of the article, what do you think stranded means?
it's, well, in this case, it's when they see animals get stuck on the in the sand on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and they cannot return to the sea.
Right. Right. So stranded means you're stuck, like you can't get out of that situation. A lot of times in this situation, we're talking about whales. We use the word as a verb, uh, beached, to be beached. So
Okay,
the whale was beached, or it is a beached whale,
okay,
meaning it is stuck or stranded on the beach. Okay. Okay, great. So take a few minutes to read this article, look for new vocabulary, make some notes so you can tell me a summary.
okay. Okay.
Okay, you finished. So tell me what this article is about. What did you read?
It was about the event of below a whale that was euthanized after experts that were trying to help help it to remove it from the beach of the Seine River. Failed. The attempt failed, and in the middle of the process of transported to a saltwater pool, they noticed that the whale was having was having difficulties regarding like breathing, and
So
it
you could
was
say
in
the whale was having difficulty breathing.
breathing. Okay, and it was in clear pain, and also studies show that it has no digestive activities, even though they try to feed it.
I see. So they could tell that the whale was sick.
Yeah, they could tell the whale was suffering, and the the expert decided to euthanize it as because they thought it was the human thing to do to stop its suffering.
Mm-hmm. Right. I see. Okay. So we have two words, euthanize and humane.
Humane.
Uh-huh. Exactly. So euthanize sounds like you eyes. And humane is humane. Humane. I know it looks like human, but it's humane. I see. Okay. Interesting. So, why do you think that this makes the international news?
I don't know. Yeah, well, for a good catch from the article, it's kind of weird because I guess the area where it was stranded, it's like sweet water,
We actually say in English fresh water, not
fresh
sweet
water.
water. Mhm.
So I guess it was really lost, or like the elephants, it was like swimming towards its own death.
Yeah, here it says it has veered off its normal path to the Arctic. So I suppose it was very surprising to see this whale in the river.
Exactly.
Yeah. But not only that, I mean, other times when a whale is beached or stranded, it often is in the international news. Why do you think that is?
I guess it would be because if I recall correctly, it's the whales are the biggest mammals alive.
So it's shocking to see one,
Yeah,
and yeah, probably it's quite surprising to see one that way, and people are concerned, and I
yeah,
guess people probably think, what does this mean about the environment? Is there some like environmental contamination, pollution going on, maybe, or what's happening?
yeah. I guess it makes it more visible that seeing like this gigantic animal die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly. It makes it more visible, more than, a couple dead birds or something like that. This is a big sign. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's because common human thing to see. If creatures small than us are dying, we just don't care. But when we see something big as a whale, we start to wonder what's happening and if it could happen to us.
Sure. That I like that connection that you made. Yeah. That maybe somewhere unconsciously we are wondering, could that happen to us? Like we see it as something more serious than just if like a bird or a rat or a rabbit dies or something. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. Okay, so I have another article here. Maybe this one we'll read out loud together
Okay.
so we can practice our pronunciation. So the title of this one is An Island in the Galapagos Reintroduced Iguanas After Nearly 200 Years of Extinction. Okay, so we'll practice pronunciation. If there's any vocabulary that you don't know, you can ask me about it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
A species of iguana that went extinct nearly 200 years ago on one of the Galapagos Islands appears to be making a comeback with some help from a team of conservationists. The last person to spot a Galapagos land iguana on Santiago Island in Ecuador was Charles Darwin in 1835, when an expedition team from California arrived in 1906. The iguanas were nowhere to be found.
So this date, actually, this year, we actually say 1906.
Okay, 1906.
So any dates that have like a zero in the number, oops, 1906, 1906. Okay,
And though this kind of iguana can still be found on the other Galapagos islands,
good.
it is,
Islands.
it is believed that to have been extinct on Santiago for the past 187 years until now. A team of scientists and park rangers discovered new lizards of various ages while walking the island in late July, which suggests the species has been successfully reintroduced. And according to Jorge Carrion, director of conservation of the Galapagos Conservancy, the, the ecosystem is thriving as a result.
Good.
The evidence is in the details, he explained. Seeing lizards of different ages and coming across unmarked specimens means the iguanas are breeding in their natural environment.
Mhm. Okay.
Before joining the Galapagos Conservancy, Carrion worked for the Galapagos National Park Directorate. Directorate,
Directorate.
okay, the caretakers of the island's ecosystems and resources. The GMPD is also the authority spearheading the iguana reintroduction project, with funding and assistance coming from the Conservancy.
Good. What do you think spearheading means?
Like leading,
Leading, exactly. So the head or the point of a spear,
peer.
it is the leading part. Good. Okay.
He said the collaborative has released more than 3,000 land iguanas on the island since January 2019. Conservationists decided to reintroduce the land iguana after carefully considering how a return of the species would affect the ecosystem. These lizards are what's known as an engineering species, like the Galapagos giant tortoise.
Wait a
In
second.
the
This is
tortoise,
no tortoise.
tortoise.
Tortoise, which is a type of large turtle, right?
Yeah,
So we pronounce it tortoise. Tortoise.
tortoise. Okay. In that they play a critical role in maintaining a healthy balance in an ecosystems.
Yeah, so this is an interesting concept. They call it an engineering species because it plays a critical role in maintaining a healthy balance in the ecosystem. So it has a big impact on shaping literally the
Yeah,
ecosystem.
that part makes me wonder that what happened before when they were extinct in that particular island. So the whole ecosystem was like a total chaos,
Yeah,
or
I'm sure it got changed. And a good question of like, why did it become extinct? Also, maybe they will talk about that. I don't know. But
yeah,
why did it become extinct? Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, and these are the famous ones, the Galapagos giant tortoises. Those are the ones people go there to visit.
yeah,
They're really big. And I think that they can live longer than humans. They live like 100 years.
yeah, yeah.
These are the tortoises. Pretty cool. Okay.
I know they have a really strong bite.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. I have heard them described as kind of scary creatures. Like, you don't expect a turtle to be something scary, but they're pretty strong, I think.
Yeah, well, you can run it around them, but if you get distracted, if they bite, they can even, I don't know, snap a leg or an arm.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here we are.
As the primary herbivores on the Galapagos Islands, the land iguanas and spread
Tortoises. So this is plural
tortoises,
tortoises.
yeah, right. Tortoises spread seeds across the landscape and help model the plant communities, Carrion explained. Their movement patterns also create open spaces used by other animals. These kind of species are critical for the ecosystem in general, Carrion said. In this case, it was a justification for the reintroduction of land iguanas to return the natural dynamic to Santiago Island. When engineered species are not present, many imbalances occur in the ecosystem. They also mark them.
Yeah. The poor guys have to have a number on them. Okay. What caused the iguana's extinction?
It's believed that the Galapagos land iguanas were wiped out by invasive species, including feral pigs, cats, goats, and donkeys. These unwelcome animals were introduced to some of the islands, including Santiago, by whalers and other mariners. They wreaked havoc
They
on
wreaked havoc. This is a difficult word and it's pronounced
wreak,
wreaked or
okay,
wreaked. They wreaked
wreak
havoc.
havoc,
Havoc. So this sounds like ha
ha,
vuk vuk havoc.
havoc, okay,
They wreaked havoc, which
havoc,
means what does that mean? They caused a great disaster.
a
They caused
disruption,
disruption. What was I going to say?
chaos.
Uh-huh. Um, yeah, okay, exactly.
Uh, devouring plants other species relied on, and some even ate the iguanas. That is why scientists had to rid the island of non-native animals before the iguanas could be reintroduced. This was accomplished over a 9-year period through the Galapagos Conservancy's Project Isabella, which was completed in 2006.
What does this mean? Rid the islands of non-native animal species. Rid.
Like remove,
Uh-huh.
or yeah, eliminate, yeah.
Uh-huh. It is similar to get rid of, right? Rid. Okay.
Carrion said he and his colleagues believe they have learned an important lesson through the reintroduction of land iguanas. If you remove the source of the ecological disturbance, the invasive species in this case, the ecosystem can recover and return to its natural dynamic.
Okay.
The Galapagos Conservancy and the National Park Directorate are also working together to reintroduce the giant tortoise on another island. The native tortoise has been extinct on Floriana Island since, sorry, the 800, how do you say?
This is
18
native, by the way. Not native, but native. The native tortoise.
native, 1800s,
1800s, correct.
according to the Galapagos Conservancy, and reintroduction and breeding efforts began in 2017. The ecosystem found on the Galapagos Islands are home to some of the most fascinating plants and animals in the world. The islands were made famous largely due to Darwin and his 1835 expedition, according to the Conservancy, which led to his theory of evolution by natural selection.
Mhm. Yeah. So basically it sounds like this iguana reintroduction is part of a bigger project to, I guess, conserve the native species of the
Yeah,
Galapagos.
to isolate them from external species.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And protect the original ecosystem of the islands. Uh-huh. So, this article is interesting to me because I actually just heard a podcast about this same topic this week.
Okay.
This project Isabella that they mentioned in the podcast, they were talking about another aspect of this project Isabella on a different island. I guess there's several Galapagos islands. And anyway, in the other thing I heard, there was also an issue of turtles being a turtle population being decimated by goats. Goats
Okay.
had been introduced to the island. And so, in the end, what they decided to do was kill thousands or hundreds, maybe not thousands, hundreds of goats in order to protect the turtles or to help the turtles survive. But there was a lot of controversy, obviously, in this because it involved actually killing lots and lots and lots of goats. So, as you
Yeah,
might understand, animal rights people were very concerned about, what's the right thing to do in this situation.
I know. You need to kill one species in order to save another one.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of questions that come up of like, is this important? Like, is it important that humans intervene into this situation to protect a species, to reintroduce a species? Is this work valuable work? And in the very big picture, why is this valuable work? And what's the right way to do it? Are we trying to restore this place to some, natural virgin? Is that possible?
I don't know. Well, the question would be like one of my first questions would be how the goats came to be there in the first place.
I think it was the same as they mentioned here. They mentioned other invasive species, but they said like through mariners, through whalers, through people historically, not even
Yeah,
recently, but like in the times of in the 1800s or whatever, when they were people passing through with ships and whatever, they like left 2 goats, and then
Yeah,
over a bunch of years that created a giant goat population.
exactly. I I could see it like in this particular case, like trying to fix a mistake, a human mistake, like leaving the goats there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because it's like I know it's not the same, but it's similar when like they are trying to do recently with indigenous people. Like their way that they were the first one in some area, and an external population came to their land and drove them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess I could think it that way because in this case, the goats don't have anything to do with the island,
Mm-hmm.
the original ecosystem.
Yeah.
So technically, they don't belong there.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you like to go to the Galapagos someday?
Yeah, actually, I was considering like for a next trip, maybe for I don't know where, when.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently, I mean, that's another issue too, is tourism is actually a big deal.
Yeah,
But, that brings other issues of all these people coming in, and the local infrastructure to support those people. And, so that brings more complications to the
yeah,
environment. Yeah. And also in this podcast that I listen to, another common problem that you hear in Mexico and other places is that sometimes the local people don't understand or don't immediately understand the conservation efforts. So in the case of the Galapagos, the fishermen, the Conservation Society or group wanted to tell the fishermen to limit their fishing because they were overfishing. But of course, the fishermen are like, we have to eat. This is our livelihood. This is how we earn money. And so there was a little bit of a battle, you know.
yeah,
And I think that has happened in many places, probably in Mexico as well.
yeah. But yeah, I think there was a similar case here in one of Mexico coast about fishermen like almost killing all the ecosystem because they overfish.
Mhm.
So they have to be educated about like a proper amount of
Mhm.
fishing or a new fishing style in order to preserve and respect all the ecosystem and not overfish and lose their only source of income, and at the same time help to protect the environment
Right.
surrounding that specific area.
Right. And sometimes these programs also involve like retraining them to do something else, or helping them participate in the tourism industry. So for example, fishermen who have boats already can take tourists out in the boat and
Yeah,
show them around. And so it's an additional economic activity that doesn't hurt the environment.
or at least not that
Not
much.
as much, yeah, less maybe. True. True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, the Galapagos seems like a pretty beautiful place. Apparently, there's several islands, which I didn't realize. I don't know how many islands there are.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, look, it looks like there's many islands,
Wow.
and so like each little island is its own little unique ecosystem. Um, oh yeah, they're also famous for these big lizards, right?
Yeah.
What are these called? The monitor lizards or something? I can't remember what those are called. I thought they were called like monitor lizards.
I think it's something about dragon something.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, those are pretty cool as well.
Mm,
Right. And then you get situations like this where it's like, is that the right thing to do? Like this photo?
yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if that's okay.
I I believe also is like Komodo lizard, I guess.
Komodo dragon? Oh, maybe
Komodo dragon.
the
Yeah.
Komodo dragon. Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's a cool picture.
Yeah. But I thought there were like maybe 17 island, but in the first picture you put on the screen, there was like many more.
Yeah, I'm sure that you can't go to all of them. I'm sure
Yeah,
that some of them are
restricted.
restricted, exactly. Yeah, that would be curious. But it sounds like from this podcast that I listened to the other day, it sounds like there's a lot of researchers that are
Yeah.
there, like investigating different stuff. Oh, here we have all the um does it say it doesn't say that lizard here.
I'm guessing that probably you can go to one of them or be near like in the Ecuador coast and take like boat trips to see the island for a safe distance. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. Also, I know that they're famous for these finches, these birds, because like Darwin, when Darwin was there doing his studies, he studied these birds
Okay.
and the differences. Like I think the point was like these birds live in very close proximity to each other, but because of like the different islands and everything, there's been a lot of differentiation and they're all like a little tiny bit different, which helped him to explain his theory of evolution.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, someday maybe we'll go to the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah.
Okay, Jorge. So, you have any fun plans for this weekend?
Yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to meet some friends and we are going to go eat some chiles en nogada.
Nice. Already it's time for that, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it's from August to I'm not so sure it's all of September or just to mid-September. No, probably to also through September,
Uh-huh.
even some October days.
Uh-huh.
But they just start having the chiles en nogada since August.
Okay. Is that, do you like that dish? Is it one of your favorites?
And it's not one of my favorites, but I like it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I must say I'm not a huge fan of that dish. It's not like something I get excited
Yeah,
about. Not that interested.
yeah. I guess the part I like the most is the sauce,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
and then in the night I'm going to meet another group of friends, and then we are going to go to a bar and hang out.
Cool. Sounds fun. Great.
Yeah, so probably on Sunday I will regret my decisions either because of overeating or overdrinking.
So Sunday is designated for just resting.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. Cool.